Good morning, everyone. So, in this video, we are going to cover the monthly magazine of Vision IAS, and this is March 2025 magazine. In this part, we will cover the IR section. We have already covered the polity section. Now, if you have any doubt related to preparation, you can message me on my Instagram. It is MRPC07. Now, let's start. So first is related to bilateral investment treaty, BIT. Understand in a very simple sense. Let's say some investor from other country, let's say Tesla itself is investing money into India. What if there is a dispute between government of India and Tesla? So how those disputes are to be resolved? For this purpose, we have bilateral investment treaty. Now India already have BIT, that is bilateral investment treaty of 2015 model. In the recent budget, the government has announced that we are going to change it or we are going to modify it so that we can make it more investor friendly. Investor friendly basically means we can simplify the terms and condition so that we can attract more investment. What is the problem with the current BIT model? One issue is that if there is a dispute, then there are a vague terms. Vague term basically means things are not clearly defined. Plus, there is exclusion from the bodies like ICSID. Now, what is ICSID? It is International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. It is a body of World Bank. As of now, India is not a member of ICSID. That simply means if there is a dispute, the investor cannot approach ICSID directly. Okay, why? Because India is not a member. So, in the revised model, government is considering joining this ICSID. That is one proposal. Apart from that, government is also trying to promote the role of New Delhi International Arbitration Center. Understand what is the meaning of arbitration? Arbitration simply means, let's say again, let's get back to the same example. If Tesla and government of India have dispute, the judicial route will not be taken. What is the problem with judicial route? Judicial route will be slow and time taking process. That's why there is a role of arbitration. Arbitration basically means there will be third party who will try to solve the dispute. Usually it is private party. Okay, that is arbitration. Now government is trying to promote its own arbitration center. Right now majority of the cases are being handled, for example, in countries like Singapore. So we are trying to set up our own arbitration model so that countries and investor from other countries also can approach the arbitration. So that is all about this BIT. Next news is related to IURA, that is Indian Ocean Rim Association. So basically the countries which share border boundary with Indian Ocean, they are the members. Apart from that, countries like US and Russia, they are the observers, or in a very simple sense, dialogue partners. Why IURA was in news suddenly? Because India is going to be the chair of IURA for next 2 years. Now IURA was established in 1997. The headquarter is in Mauritius. Next news is related to Mauritius itself. So recently Prime Minister visited Mauritius, and therefore the relationship of India and Mauritius has been elevated to enhanced strategic partnership. Now, one more thing. In the context of IURA, there is a document or there is a vision of India. That vision is basically Sagar. What is Sagar? Security and growth for all in the region. In a very simple sense, we are saying that everyone should witness security and growth. The enhanced version of this sagar, that basically means extended version of this sagar, is referred as a Mahasagar. What is Mahasagar? It is mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across region. So this is the expanded version of Sagar doctrine of India. Now, basically, our ties has been elevated. That is one issue. Recently, Mauritius was also in news because of the sovereignty over this Chagos Islands. See, Britishers had control over this island. So Mauritius became independent, but the control over this island remained with Britishers. Mauritius was claiming that it is their part. Now, in 2024, UK decided to give the control back to Mauritius. However, understand there is a island or basically a part which is referred as Diego Garcia. This is important. Why it is important? Because it is still under UK, and It is the military base of US. Now you might wonder how come US will have military base if it is under UK. Usually the parts are leased so that other country can set up their military base. So that is why, understand two things. UK have transferred the sovereignty of this island to Mauritius, but this part, or this is entire Chagos Island, this part, Diego Garcia, that is still under UK, and there is a military base of US on this part. Next is related to India New Zealand relationship. Recently, New Zealand Prime Minister was on visit to India, and that's why it was in news. Now, understand, New Zealand joined Indian or Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative. That is one thing. Apart from that, it also became the member of CDRI. What is CDRI? Climate Resilient Disaster Infrastructure. That simply means our infrastructure should be able to withstand the disasters, or in a very simple sense, disaster resilient infrastructure. Answer in comment section, where is the headquarter of CDRI. Apart from that, both countries have restarted the negotiation on FTA, that is free trade agreement. The negotiations were kind of going through a very slow process over a long time period. Now both countries have restarted it. What is free trade agreement? In a very simple sense, the trade barriers will be reduced. Free doesn't mean that absolutely will everything will be free. It simply means the trade barriers will be limited or reduced. Next news is related to Australia. So recently Australia was in news because it has announced four super highways of growth. Super highways of growth simply means these are the areas of cooperation with India. What are these four areas? One is clean energy, education, skill, agribusiness, and tourism. So basically, one, clean energy, second is education and skill, third is agribusiness, and fourth is tourism. Now, for collaboration between India and Australia, there is a Australia India Trade and Investment Accelerator Fund, as the name suggests, to promote the trade and investment. Then there is AIBX, that is Australia India Business Exchange. Apart from that, there is a MATRI or Friendship Grants Program. Under this, grants will be provided to promote business to business collaboration, people to people collaboration. Apart from that, in 2021, India and Australia had signed Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. Now, as far as Australia is concerned, Australia consider India as a top tier security partner. Top tier basically means top level security partner. Next is Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance. So recently there was a meeting of the chief of different intelligence agencies, and in that context, this Five Eyes Alliance was in news. Actually, it is a intelligence sharing group of five countries. That's why the name Five Eyes. One is US, then UK, then Canada, and Australia and New Zealand. So these are the five countries. Next is related to Squad Alliance. So understand, recently there was a Raisina dialogue, and in that dialogue, usually the diplomats and other officials from all over the world, they come to India, and then they will have discussion. So during that discussion, it was suggested that basically Philippines suggested that India should join the Squad Alliance. What is the Squad Alliance? There is Quad Alliance. What is Quad? Quad basically means four members or quadrilateral security dialogue. There are four countries in Quad. One is India, second is US, then there is Japan and Australia. Now, in case of this Quad Alliance, instead of India, there is Philippines. So now Philippines is saying India should also join it. Next news is related to Ottawa Convention. Understand, these are landmines. Landmines basically means, you might have seen in the movies, that these are installed, and subsequently whenever the soldier will put his feet over it, there will be blast. To ban such landmines, or basically to ban such mines, there is a Ottawa Convention. Now recently it was in news because NATO members such as Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, they are planning to withdraw from this convention. Why? Because they see that there is a military threat from Russia. Okay, in a very simple sense, as per this convention, we should not install these kind of landmines. Why we should not? Because understand, it is unfair to the soldiers. They don't know whether there is a landmine or not, and there is unnecessary security threat. That's why all the countries decided that okay, we should not do this kind of activity. Next is Raisina Dialogue. We have already discussed that. Recently, 10th edition was organized, and it was organized in New Delhi. It is hosted by ORF, that is Observer Research Foundation, and our Ministry of External Affairs. What was the theme of 2025 dialogue? It was Kal Chakra. So basically, people, peace, and planet. Now, in this entire dialogue, basically there were six themes. One of them was green trilemma. Trilemma basically means three problems are there, or basically we have to maintain a balance between these three things. And second is digital planet. Digital planet basically means digitization. Okay, what is this green trilemma? Actually, there are three problems. One is we have to ensure an environment sustainability. That simply means we have to use our resources in a sustainable manner. Second challenge is energy security. For example, understand it this way: we need electricity. Right now, in case of India, majority of electricity is produced through coal. But coal is damaging environment. So if we will focus on environment, we will have to face the problem of energy security. And if we focus on, let's say, renewable energy sources, which is environment friendly, but the problem is they are costly. So there are three dimensions: one is environment, one is energy, and third is economics. That simply means it should be affordable. For example, let's say EV, electric vehicles. It is relatively good for environment, relatively, in comparison to petrol and diesel vehicles. But is it affordable? Of course not. And last is related to some correction in the month of February. So in the February month, it was specified that Malaysia and Ukraine, they are the members. So members of ICC. What is ICC? International Criminal Court, which was set up through Rome Statute. India is not a member. Now, as per this correction, basically Malaysia had joined ICC, but later they have decided to exit from it. One more correction is there: Ukraine, as per the previous magazine, that is February, as per the February edition, Ukraine had joined it in 2025. So actually, it should have been 2024. So these are two important factual corrections. That's all for IR section. In the next part, we are going to cover the economy section. Thank you.